Greetings, my name is Nena Gilreath and welcome to episode 4, Brown Sugar Ballerina Takes the Stage. This episode features Carla Tyson. She is our current Brown Sugar ballerina and she is one of the longest members of Ballet at this time. So for me, the pleasure has been in knowing her since she was a little girl. She came to the studio when she was 3 years old with her big sister, Carla, at that time, Carla Butler, and she wanted to dance because her big sister could dance. And I told her, you have to come back when you're a little bit older because 3 is too young. So when she turned 5, she came back in a little leotard. It was too big, and she was like, I'm ready to take dance, Miss Nena. And she's been dancing ever since that day. So as her mentor, I'm really proud that I've been able to guide her along the way. And what's really wonderful about Carla is that she was a quick study from early on. The early days, she picked up steps really very quickly. Her mind would catch a step and she would have it right away. And then her body really adapted to the steps pretty easily too. She loved choreography and most of the teachers really loved working with her. Also, she was a leader early on and she was one of the people that took a great amount of pride in getting the steps first, demonstrating the steps. And she never ever missed class. She always wanted to be at the studio. I remember one particular instance, her dad came into the studio and he was like, I want to know where this Miss Nena is. I want to meet this Miss Nena. And I was like, oh no, what's going to happen? Because he was pretty gruff. And he said, I want to know about this lady that Carla is always talking about. And so that's how I met Mr. Tyson. I also knew Carla's mom, Miss Tyson, who was very sweet and also brought her to the studio all the time, was always there, always very helpful. And she was the first person to help us equip our students with dance wear so that they wouldn't have to run all over the place to get it. And she started a basic dance wear service. And that was a great pleasure knowing the mom as well. Unfortunately, Carla's mom did pass away when she was only 16. So that goes to say that I've been a part of their family and a part of Carla's life through the many different transitions that have occurred for her. And it goes to say that it shows that as a dance teacher and a mentor and our organization, Ballet, that we're more than dance. And that's been an important part for me because I always wanted to use my talent to impact and to make change and to use my God-given gift to help others. And I've been able to do that. Carla is a very, very big example of that. I also remember as Carla grew up and she became a teenager, well, just before becoming a teenager, she received her point shoes. And she was like a fish in water. As soon as she put those shoes on, she was able to get onto her shoes on her box. And very proficient, very quickly, even with her teeny little legs, because she's really, really little. And she was somebody I admired because she had a lot of tenacity, which reminded me of myself. And I often watch her not only in class, but on stage. And in fact, in the Leopard Tail, Waverly, the choreographer and my husband and co-founder, he created a part for her as the little gazelle. And he created this part because there was not a costume that would fit her, and she was one of the smallest gazelles. So he created the part where the leopard jumps out of the tree and grabs the little gazelle. That was created on Carla because she could do the steps. And I remember being the leopardess and watching the gazelles from the side of the stage, and I really admired how Carla could turn from fifth and do straight turns like every single night. She was very consistent from early on. And the other great quality that she had and still has is that she didn't get rattled. Like a lot of the younger students, they would get very nervous because we were pioneering and proving things. We had a lot of skeptics that didn't believe that we, Ballet, could do sur la pointe and definitely dance on point with an ethnic spin. So there were always critics in the audience, and it was very nerve-wracking, and a lot of the students would get very nervous during the performances, but Carla was always very calm. And to this day, during performances, she's very calm. And I really like that about her. She's all about the business of dance. So it really is my pleasure to work with her and to see her perform many of the roles that I really started, or the roles that were choreographed on me, the brown sugar, and to be able to coach her through that and to give her tips and just give her what the evolution was as a grown-up. Of course, she knows the steps, because I think about in the studio as a little girl, she's about this high. Carla would be on the side of the stage or the side of the studio upstaging the grown-ups, because she knew all the steps. Even when she was 7, 8, 9, she knew all of the choreography. But it's nice to be able to share tips as a grown-up, and then to see her evolve and perform the Leopardess consistently, because again, that was one of the dances that was created on me. And to be able to share the things that I went through doing it all over, all the time, and the physicality, the mentality of the choreography. So that for me is a great, great joy. And then the last bit that I want to share, I really love that Carla has always been very generous with her gift and coming back and teaching the steps to not only the students, but to the professionals. And when there are times when Waverly and I are not able to coach or to be there for the professional dancers, she willingly and is very capably able to direct and to lead the professional dancers as well. I really depend on her. I've grown to depend on her. And again, it's really wonderful for me in all these years, 30 years of Ballet, about to be 31, that here you have someone who's been around for 27 of those years. And she's a very young woman, still has a lot more to give. So I believe that is what legacy is about. And it makes me feel that it's been worthwhile to put the kind of time in and the sacrifice in when you see someone like Carla. And there are others that come up and they give back so willingly. So I'm very proud of her. I'm proud to be a part of her life and to continue to share all of these life's moments. As I was talking earlier about Carla being a very small, teeny tiny dancer, but being very capable, this is one of her small costumes that she performed in. She was probably about 8 or 9 years old. And this is the costume from Ajaja, one of Baba Olatunji's inspired ballets. And it was a little leotard, and then they had scarves on her heads. So I've been carrying around this little leotard for years, so it's kind of like a baby picture. This is baby Carla's, one of her costumes from early back in the day. So this makes me proud, and now she's wearing my brown sugar tutu.
So I had a very different experience growing up. I only saw Black ballet dancers growing up, Black ballerinas. I wasn't exposed to or even knew about, I guess, the different perspectives that other people had in their training. It might have been due to like social media too, not really being, or not a thing at all back when I was growing up. So all I saw was Miss Nena and other people of color doing prominent roles here at Ballet. So yeah, I didn't really notice that until maybe social media got more prevalent, or I moved to California and I saw like I was the only Black person in a ballet class, like a random ballet class, for like beginners or even like the advanced classes. I was still like the only Black person there. So it didn't really hit me. I was like, wow, like every place isn't like Ballet, every place isn't like Atlanta. So it's a very different perspective, and I'm fortunate that I did have such strong role models at Ballet Dance Company. Growing up, I definitely was interested in being a ballet dancer because I saw that it was possible. Growing up, I never ever wavered. I wanted to be a ballet. I was here at the academy like 5 days a week. I knew I wanted to ballet. There was nothing else that pulled there was no sport, there was nothing. I wanted to do ballet. When I got older, my body started to change, and injuries here. I really didn't think that I would be doing it professionally. I went to school for accounting. I was still doing, coming back in the summer or even like in the fall to do the shows. but like I still didn't think that I was going to do it professionally. I guess I thought I was going to be an accountant, but something just switched once I graduated, and I was like, I think that I'm going to go back to ballet and I'm going to try it until I feel like my body would betray me, and so far we're still going years later. So I started at Ballet when I was 5. So for all the productions, Urban Nutcracker, we do every winter, and then our spring show, the Leopard Tail, like just on rotation every year since I was 5. And I was lucky enough to start and get in, and I was good enough to get Leopard Kitten. That was my first role in the Leopard Tail when I first got to Ballet. And I've just been here. I worked hard, and it is different. That I have done like almost every role. There's a few that are still escaping me, but young roles, like baby roles where you only have like one part in the show, to being like a preteen and really understanding ballet and what it takes, to getting point shoes and then the roles that come with that, to being an apprentice and then doing company roles. Very fortunate, very thankful that they trusted me with these roles, and even to do some of the company repertoire and been able to travel and perform and do those roles. Definitely a different experience seeing like new people come and learn it and remember that I too was there and in their shoes once upon a time. But yeah, it's to look back, it's been a long journey. It's like 27 years worth of choreography. So I remember my first Urban Nutcracker, I started as like a party child and a baby doll, and I was a little helper. And I probably did that, so I was like 5, 6, for probably like 3-4 years. And then in 1998 was my first year being Sarah. And then I also did it again in 99, along with other roles like Chinese, tumblers. And then I got my point shoes, and that's when I started to do Snow and Coke and Flowers. And then really 5 years after I did Sarah, I was asked to do Brown Sugar, and that was my first time doing it in 2004. So pretty much all the roles I've done in the Urban Nutcracker, except for just a few. To be the lead brown girl ballerina at Ballet Mcdance Company is an humbling experience. Again, I never thought that I would be here or doing this professionally. So again, I'm always grateful and thankful for the opportunities. But it's different. It's definitely humbling for sure. I don't know, the word grateful and thankful comes to mind, because it's a lot of pressure, I'll say that. It's a lot of pressure knowing all the great dancers who've come through here, the professionals, the co-founders, the choreographers, and the legacy that they built Ballet on. So it's pressure every time I get out there and perform, especially roles like Brown Sugar, to know what came before me and to try to inspire the people who are coming up behind me. So I keep it on the level that everyone who's seen it for years are accustomed to, and then hope that maybe I put my spin on it and can just keep inspiring the next generation. So it's pressure to keep the movement, to keep the circle rolling, keep the ball rolling. So in addition to being a professional dancer at Ballet, I also teach and assist my sister at her studio in Henry County called Gift of Dance Studio. She's 10 years older than me, and she actually started at Ballet. She's probably one of the reasons why I started dancing. I saw her, and she came to Ballet, and then, the story continues. So yeah, she was like 15, I was 5, and she loved ballet. She went to school for dance. So I followed in her footsteps, and now she has a studio. So in the mornings, I'm at Ballet. I'm doing my own personal dancing stretch class rehearsal. And then I get about 90 minutes, 60 to 90 minutes to eat something, drive down to McDonough, and then teach usually from like 5:30 to 9 almost every day. Sunday's my only off day, but it's a crazy schedule. Things pop up, things happen here, things happen there, and you know, the phone and the calendar, good reminders of shows and performances and competitions and photo shoots. So it's definitely a balance. A calendar is your best friend, it's my best friend, but definitely trying to find time for food is definitely important. Sleep is few and far between. You can find good hours of sleep, but I enjoy what I do, and I know that it's rewarding, and again, helping to inspire people behind me. So as a veteran dancer at Ballet, it's definitely hard to balance being a dancer and then also trying to steer new dancers and like new adult company members to keep the legacy and the traditions alive here at Ballet, because I'm not their director. So when I'm given information to share to them, it's hard to balance because I don't want to drill them, push them, because I feel like as professionals, the work should come, you know, you would want to get better. So that's a fine line, not trying to be overbearing, because they know that I'm really essentially, basically they're equal. Like, we're all here, same hours, doing the same work. But you know, if I'm given a task to teach choreography, then I'm gonna teach it. I'm gonna say, maybe you should try that again. But you know, it's really a fine line. It's totally different from when I know I'm a teacher and then I have kids that are students, because you know, their parents are paying me to teach them. This, we're all here trying to achieve the same goal, trying to be better for ourselves. So it's really tricky sometimes. You know, I've been here for a long time. I know what it's looked like in the past and the expectations. So I'm just trying to maybe give like helpful hints and old corrections I've heard before to try to help, you know, new company members or new dancers in a new role try to, you know, keep what's been in the past, keep it, and then make it even better. So yes, I unfortunately lost my mother in 2005 as a 16-year-old girl. I was very fortunate that she did get to see me do Brown Sugar my very first year. So that was a memory I'll always have, but it's definitely different. My dad is super supportive. I do want to say that. He's at every show. We could be at a mall for like the smallest little thing and he'll show up. So I do want to say I have a very supportive father. It's just different, and I honestly think, you know, it's been like 16 years almost that I had my mom and now I haven't. So it's some parts are like, I'm like numb to it because I don't even really remember. I was so young. But I mean, of course, like when my sister's there, like she's super proud and she'll hug and cheer and have flowers and stuff like that. So I mean, I can't even imagine what, like, I know she would be proud of me. I know she would. And, you know, I miss her, but I don't even think about it really because, I don't know, it's just weird. I think I've just become numb to it where I think I'm just so, I think it's the Virgo in me. I'm just very matter of fact. I'm an overthinker, a perfectionist, and, you know, the job is the job and, you know, everything else. But, you know, you'll have quiet times and moments where you're like, man, you know, in the most random times, it'll just hit you. But, you know, I know she would be proud. I know she would be the cheerleader, you know, moms. But, you know, it's different. You know, maybe if I become a mother, I can experience on the other side. But, you know, I just know she would be proud and she would do everything that she could to help me further my goals for myself.